guys, I'm back. Finally, I know I said I was going to get on a better schedule. I was going to stick to my plan, and my plan was to record on Mondays, which is the last time I made a recording, and then Thursday, which I skipped and was not yesterday, but 2 days ago, and on Saturday. So here I am. I guess I only missed one day this week, but I did intend to stay with my, I made it up, but I intended to stay with that schedule. And here I am finally. I have not felt like making a video. I just have not. I have not been in a good mood. Um, it's been a tough week. I haven't felt like being cheerful in front of the camera, but I also don't feel like getting on here and getting on some soapbox either. I don't know that that will do any good. So I'm just going to talk about books. And books are going to be my escape for a while. I guess maybe they always are, right? They are a place for us to hide as long as we have it open and we are engaged with it and let ourselves be immersed in another world. I also have chosen to be honest, I haven't really been reading very much. I've been a bit dissociative. Um, so I have not gotten much further in the Elton John autobiography, although I really am enjoying it. It's really good. Um, he is a really good writer. I mean, whether he had help or not, I don't know, but I don't remember any ghost writer information on there if it was disclosed. I really enjoy his style. It's just, I don't know, I just have not been in the mood to do much other than stare at a wall. So, and I made some decisions about my reading. So let me just go through what I have been tinkering with this since Tuesday night. I decided this is just a little bit too much for me right now. I absolutely am going to read it. I think it's an important read. I want to have this information. And maybe I'll be ready next week. But this week, I needed to read either something that was, I don't know, just something other than this, something other than something, not that anyway. So I'm looking forward to reading it starting it next week, but I'm also not going to push myself. So I wanted to read something that would maybe put me in a better mood and I don't know, give me a little hope and connect me to the more innocent version of myself that I was when I read this book the first time. And I mentioned in the last video, The Cheerful Heart. This is not the copy that I read. I mentioned like twice in the last video that when I read this the first time, it came from the library in my junior high, in my grade school. And it didn't have a desk jacket, the one that I read initially, and it was, as I said twice in the last video, apparently this left a really big impression on me. It was a bright yellow book, and I don't think it even had a picture or anything. But it's a lovely book, and I thought maybe it would kind of take me back to, or just the joy of reading this book the first time, and being that it's a children's book, it's not a hard read. So I don't know. I did start it and I was enjoying it, and then I don't know. Then the next night when it got to nighttime reading, then I needed something different again. I have been through just about every emotion and mood this week. So I did read. What did I read? Like the first 25 pages, and it's a sweet book. It does take place right after World War II, and this family is sort of reestablishing themselves after having lost everything in the war. I believe their original house got bombed, so it felt kind of like the space I needed to be in, the space of hope amongst darkness. So I'm looking now and I'm seeing that I didn't notice when I first got this book, which I bought this book from Thrift Books, which is where I buy almost all my books now. That it has this blurb about the author. And so since I don't know anything about the author, let's read it together. Elizabeth Janet Gray, Mrs. Morgan Vining, back to the days when we had to go by her husband's name, was serving on the executive staff of the American Friends Service Committee just after World War II when she was notified that the State Department had appointed her special English tutor to Crown Prince Akihito of Japan. From 1946 to 1950, she taught not only the Crown Prince and members of his class in the Peers and Peeresses School, that's a mouthful, Peeresses, female of peers, school, but his sisters and younger brother as well, on his way home from the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II, the Crown Prince, spent 3 days with his former tutor in her small, century-old house in Philadelphia. 4 years later, Mrs. Vining was entertained in Japan by the imperial family and recently was the only foreign guest at the wedding ceremony of the Crown Prince and Miss Michiko Shoda, a distinction attesting to the admiration felt for her by the entire community. The cheerful heart came out of Elizabeth Janet Gray's years spent in Tokyo soon after the war in much of the same kind of neighborhood where the Tamakis, the family in the story, lived. That's lovely. I never knew that. All these years I've been holding this book in my heart and I didn't know anything about the author. And I'm sure she's probably passed on at this point, but that's nice to know more about her. And if you want to read this book with me, I think I will. I think I will try to read. This will be one of the books that I finish before the end of the year. I'm going to make that commitment here and now. We'll see how that turns out. Sometimes I fold under pressure like that, but let's see if I can find a little discipline. Okay, so that one. And then I also started reading this one, which I got because Jim on Great Books, Big Ideas, I'm pretty sure that's the name of the YouTube, he suggested it. And I love watching Jim. And this is a little bit beyond me. I might have mentioned this in a video in the past. This is a little bit more scholarly than I normally read, but I'm looking forward to it. And I kind of feel this week that I want to lean into educating myself. I have this feeling inside of me right now that that maybe we'd be a bit better, if not a lot better off, if more of us took the time to lean into the intellectual sheath of self as much as we can. So I haven't always, but for the last maybe 15, 20 years, I've been dancing around philosophy. I've been interested in it. I never really seriously thought about going back to school. I have a 4-year degree in Spanish, but I thought, oh, maybe I'd like to go back to school and study philosophy. I had the idea to study philosophy with a minor in, what am I trying to say? Art history. I gotta say, honestly, I'm not sure I'll go back to school at this point in my life. But if I did, this might be something I would want to study. So why not just start now and educate myself in my own way for as long as I can, as long as it stays interesting to me. So this is, as you have been seeing for the last few moments, is at the Existentialist Cafe, Freedom, Bean, and Apricot Cocktails. First of all, I think apricot cocktails sound awesome. I'm not much of a drinker, but I love apricots and I love apricot flavor. One of the only kinds of beer I like is apricot. I think it's Hefeweizen. This is by Sarah Bakewell. And let's read the inside dust jacket and see if you want to read it with me. What is it to be free? Do we have a fixed nature or can we be anything we choose? If we are free to shape our world, how do we want that world to be? Oh, this already really appeals to me. What is it to live a personally authentic, honest life with ourselves and with others? Can we change how we live? And why do we forget to remain constantly amazed that we are here right now on this earth? These questions were asked by the existentialists, an adventurous group of philosophers and novelists whose stories stretched from the dark years of interwar Germany to the exciting Paris of the late 1940s and 1950s and beyond. In confronting the most basic problems of human existence, they challenged the orthodoxies of their time and left their stamp on 1960s youth culture. Oh, I'm so glad I'm reading this book. I hadn't read this yet, even though I've had this for a couple weeks. Let's see. Now I've lost my place. So left their stamp on 1960s youth culture, the civil rights and anti-colonial struggles, feminism, and the LGBT liberation movement, among others. Oh my God, what a lovely, timely book for me to read. Later, some of these fights seemed close to being won, and existentialism went out of fashion. But now, in the 21st century, we find ourselves again confronting essential questions of identity and freedom, this time in a complex, high-tech world, and perhaps the existentialists have more to say to us than ever. at the Existentialist Cafe is a very personal account of this daring movement and of the thinkers who created it, with their love affairs, mentorships, rebellions, lifelong partnerships, and sometimes violent fallings out. It is an epic tale of big ideas played out between passionate, larger than life characters in a great, bustling existentialist cafe of the mind. Oh, so glad I started this book. Let's see when it came out. It was published in 2016, which, my God, feels like 4 lifetimes ago now. But anyway, so I think I'm going to do these 2 at night. When I need something lighter, I'm going to read this. Although, you know, this is not maybe, no, it is light, but it is coming out of a dark time, which again seems kind of appropriate. And then this one seems like when I'm ready, when I'm not super tired when I'm going to bed and I feel like I can handle it, I'm going to read this one. Okay, so I'm going to commit to reading these 2 books before the end of the year. What's today? I think it's the 9th of November. So, and we're actually kind of close. It's only like, what, 6 or 7 weeks away? I think I said I was going to read this before the end of the year, but now I'm not so sure that's going to happen. So these 2 plus the Elton John autobiography. Those are going to be the ones I commit to finishing before December 31st. We'll see if it happens. Other than that, I cleaned my desk for this video. It was a gigantic mess before. I put a picture of it, of my desk, on my Instagram account. So if you want to go there, it is holly.yoga, and that's spelled out. So HOLLYDOT yoga, YOGA. That's my Instagram name. You can go there and see what my desk looked like before I made this video, which was a huge mess. And I kind of expressed my darker feelings in that Instagram post. So you can go there and read that if that's interesting to you. I am going to do a couple of things tonight. I'm actually just about to teach an evening class. It's only going to be a 15-minute practice, but one of my more dedicated yogis asked me for that so that she can keep the recording and do that nightly, or at least a few times a week at night before she goes to bed. So I'm about to get ready to do that, which means I need to move this desk and get out my yoga mat and change into some yoga clothes and get myself ready and in that space. So thanks so much for joining me this time. My name is Holly. This is my channel. And if what I offer, which is going to be, I think for a while, mostly about books, although I had other ideas, but I think probably books is going to be the focus for quite some time. It just feels like a safe place for me and a place that I want to share my heart from. So if that sounds interesting, come join me, subscribe, leave a comment. I try to respond to all the comments. That's the kind of person I am. I like to create connection. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think, including constructive criticism. Just please be kind, and I'll see you for the next video. All right, my friends. Bye-bye for now.